All right, 2:30. So this is the lesson for May 7th, May 7th. In it, we're going to be talking about box plots, and I would highly suggest having a calculator on hand when we are doing this work right here. All right, so in box plots, you have to find 5 important numbers in there. And the first step to doing it is always putting the numbers in order from least to greatest. One hint that I give you is you should probably cross them out as you rewrite them so you make sure that you've already accounted for it. So the smallest number I see here is 3, so I'm going to put that first. And then I see 4. Then after that, I think it would be 7, then 9, then 11, then 14, 16, 20, 23, and 24. Oops, I forgot about 19. See, that's exactly why you do that. So then I'm going to put in 19 right here in between 16 and 20. All right. So I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 numbers here. Okay, so I have an odd amount of numbers, and that's going to be important to us when we're moving forward. So the first thing we have to do is we have to find the minimum. And the minimum is the smallest number. And in this case, the smallest number here is 3. All right, then we have to find the maximum, which is the largest number. And in this case, it is 24. All right, the reason we put them in order from least to greatest is we can easily now find the median. And the median, if you remember, it is the middle number. And so in this case, get rid of this, get rid of this. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. And I get that it's 14 in this case. Now what we have to do is we have to learn how to find Q1 and Q3. So Q1 is going to be the median of the first half of the data. So what we're going to do is we're going to just look at the first half of the data. Now, earlier I mentioned that this was an odd number of data points, which is important here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the first half of the data that doesn't include 14 because that's our median and we already accounted for it. Now, if we were to use an even number of data, which is what we're going to do in the next one, we would use whatever's in the middle because there's going to be 2 of them. But in this case, since there's one number in the middle, we're going to leave out the 14 and just focus on these 5 numbers that are in front. So I'm looking at the numbers 3, 4, 7, 9, and 11. I have to find the median of those. And I see that it is going to be 7. So Q1 in this case is going to be 7. Now I have to find Q3, which is going to be the median of the second half of the data. So I'm going to rewrite just the second half, which is 16, 19, 20, 23, and 24. Find the median there, and I see that it is 20. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to draw our box plot. So first we're going to start the median, or not the median. First we're going to start the minimum, which is 3. So I'm going to put a dot up above 3, just like that. Then we're going to start at the maximum. It's 24, so I'm going to put a dot up above 24. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to start to make our box. These are our 2 edges, but our box has to do with the other 3 numbers. So Q1 is quartile 1, which means that 25% of the data is in that first section. So 25% of the data is between 3 and 7. So 7 is where I'm going to draw my first line. And I'm going to connect this to that. So what that means is there's 25% of the data in this first quartile. That's why it's called Q1. So 25% of the points, or 1/4 of the points that are from up here, exist between those 2 parts. Now we're going to look at the median. The median here is 14. So I'm going to draw a line at 14, and that's going to be the first section of my box, just like that. Now the second section of my box is going to end at Q3, which is at 20. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here at 20, fill in my box, and then draw a line over here to 24. So back to this quartile thing. That means that 25% of the data is here, 25% is here, 25% is here, and 25% is here. And if you guys add that up, that's going to be 100. So that's what a quartile is, and that's why it's called Q1, Q2, and Q3. Median can be called Q2 or just sometimes median, and they mean the same thing. All right, now we're going to do another one of these, but this time there's going to be an even amount of data points. So let's put them in order from least to greatest. I see the smallest number is 1, and then 2, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, 8, 9, 17, 24, and 25. Okay, so in this case, there's 10 pieces of data, and that's going to be important to us in a little bit. So once again, the minimum is the smallest number. So in this case, it's 1, and the maximum is the largest number. So in this case, it's 25. Median, or Q2, that's the middle number. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the smallest and the biggest. Smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. And we end up with 2 numbers in the middle. We end up with 6 and 8. And that's what happens when you have an even amount of data. That should happen every time. So how you're going to find the median is you're going to do 6 plus 8, and then you're going to divide that by 2. Well, 6 plus 8 is 14, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that means that our median here is 7. Now, what we're going to do is we have to find Q1. Well, if you remember, Q1 is the median of the first half of the data. This time, we're actually going to split the data in half right here between 6 and 8. I'm going to copy down all of these numbers that are in the first half. I am going to include 6. Remember in the other one, we didn't include the 14 because there was an odd amount and it was the actual median. Because the median is 7, which is right here in between 6 and 8, I'm going to include 6 in this data. So I'm going to rewrite 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Now I have to find the median of that data. And I see that it is 4. Just like that. All right, now I have to find the median of the second half. Well, I'm going to copy it down from 8 and all the numbers after it. So that's going to be 8, 9, 17, 24, 25. I go ahead and find the median, and in this case, it's 17. All right, now we're going to start drawing our box and whisker plot. So our minimum is 1, so I'm going to put a dot at 1. Our maximum is 25. Q1 is at 4, so I'm going to draw my line. Our median is at 7. Q3 is at 17. All right, I'm going to join those together. And then I'm going to make that line that extends to the maximum. So this is what it should look like. All right, I'm going to have you finish up the rest of these on your own. Talk to you guys later.